Tenacity, being more than a principle. Some years ago, while I was in conversation with Joselwa Napote in her office at Sinenjongo Secondary in Joslovo, a colleague principal, Dr. Rajan Naidu of Masimbambane Secondary in Blukombos, was looking for Joselwa, so I invited him in to join us. The resultant conversation, now 7 years old, still enthralls me as a blueprint for successful principalship. Both are highly respected, experienced leaders whose big schools led the way despite serving complex, high poverty communities. Dr. Naidu was completing a doctoral thesis on SMT instructional leadership roles at 5 Western Cape Township schools. He had his finger on the pulse of principalship, and he identified tenacity as the key ingredient in making those schools work. I spent my life being a principal, and I just love that word. Tenacity comes from the Latin tenere, meaning to hold. Tenacity is the act of holding fast. Fast here means tightly secured, with a firm grip, feet planted when the wind hits, never letting go. That's the essence of principalship, holding it all together. That extreme persistence and firmness of purpose to relentlessly pursue standards which ensure success, even when no one is watching and despite challenging circumstances. The first Cape Town school I visited as a coach in January 2019 was in Dunoon, a largely informal, overcrowded, poor and vulnerable settlement east of Tableview, which was sometimes volatile and inaccessible as protesters targeted the bus route and demanded better services. Much work has been done by the city to improve Dunoon in recent years. I can't say I was not nervous driving through Dunoon, but my appointment with Principal Bongani Makikama was always at 8 a.m. And invariably, I found his huge, warm, welcoming, and authoritative presence at the gate of a beautiful new school building, which, like him, stood tall as a beacon of hope in a setting which couldn't be more unequal than the school I served for a lifetime. The beacon metaphor is powerful. You get a sense of place and hope at Dunoon Primary. You understand the potential value of a school which holds it all together. I knew Bongani as a demanding principal who appreciated the complexity of his teachers' challenge, but expected them to persist in the face of difficulty with grit and commitment. Tenacity in action. I got an even greater sense of hope every time I walked into Siazaka Primary in Browns Farm, Philippi. Principal Nomsa Sosha is now a Principal's Academy coach and translator of this letter into isiXhosa. The school, which today I can't visit because the area is just too dangerous, radiates an institutional tenacity which you see in the industriousness of its learners, the pride with which they wear their uniforms, their broad smiles, their happy teachers in bright and colorful classrooms. Nomsa rarely speaks, but when she addresses teachers, you witness her hold. Total respect, detailed insight into the school and its academic vision, and a non-negotiable commitment to teaching time from bell to bell. Our annual visiting principals from the Netherlands were always blown away by Nomsa's grip on Siazaka's standard. Every principal will understand the quiet force of actively holding it all together, the difficulty involved, and what it takes. Good leaders maintain standards and morale when things get shaky, staff turnover or absence, disciplinary problems, or bad press. But holding fast something as big and precious as a school requires the strength of a whole team. Yes, the principal holds the team together, building social cohesion, but the principal leads by example, the most powerful tool one can use in leading people. That's a sentence Dr. Naidu uses in his thesis. He sees departmental heads, SMTs, as frontline supervisors who, besides monitoring, act as subject catalysts, constantly promoting and building capacity among educators in their subject teams. And it's not just principals and teachers. Lucas and Spencer's Developing Tenacity, Teaching Learners to Persevere in the Face of Difficulty, quotes a McKinsey study into PISA data that has shown that students' mindsets have more impact on their academic performance than their socio-economic background does. The mindset most predictive of success was a cluster of attributes associated with tenacity. As principals, you see them in those together learners: resilience, perseverance, grit, and self-regulation. I always love to see an essay being rewritten or homework redone because the rushed effort just wasn't good enough. Any child who knows how to hold on will always find a way to move forward. Michael Kramer, whose 2020 Oxford University MSc in Education thesis on successful high school leadership in the Western Cape I have quoted before, explains just how much tenacity is required. Schools are complex. Being a principal is complex. Being a successful principal is so much more than being a principal. It's about setting the direction, developing people, redesigning the organization, adapting your leadership style to suit the particular situation, being embedded in the fabric of the school, being equally organized and flexible, dedicated, passionate, empathetic, hardworking, people-oriented, but most importantly, wanting to make a positive difference in the lives of others. Tenacity doesn't make the headlines. It holds until it becomes something one feels in the corridors and classrooms of a successful school.